19 more sprints? Are you kidding me? Indeed, 20 sprints on the menu today. Welcome to the Zwift Racing League Round 5 on the Glasgow Crit Track. 10 times a glide kicker and then 10 times a champion sprint. As a non-sprinter I was absolutely not looking forward to this one, and I started the race with shaky knees and a nervous stomach, and my worries were absolutely justified. These guys launched like monsters and I quickly had to let the wheels go. Although I'm not a farmer's son from Belgium, I compare myself mostly with riders like Yves Lampaert or El Tractor, the recently retired Tim de Klerk. So I'm definitely not a sprinter and also not a climber, but ask me to ride a steady pace for hours and I would do it without hesitating. At this point, as I was dropped early, the only thing I was thinking about was throwing out my bike out of the window of my pain attic. But luckily I was still in the company of two strong riders, Mr. Double D and Mr. Mirland. So we had a Belgian, bike and beer? That's when you start to see double D's, I guess. And then after 4 minutes into the race I finally could start breathing again and I regained a little bit of my strength. At this moment my plan was to recover a little bit and then see if we could have a little bit of sprints later on. Although I was riding in the 68th position out of 73 riders, we were closing in on a group of about 5 riders in front of us, thanks to the good collaboration with Mr. Double D and Mr. Mirland. And then on the kicker climb we were able to close the gap on 8 riders in front of us. So this gave us a little advantage now, because with a bigger group we could chase still some more riders later on the track. And in this group also one of my teammates, Maarten van Ham, not to be compared with the Vlam van Ham, Jasper Philipsen. Nice to see you again, Maarten, after almost 8 minutes of racing. And 22 seconds on the riders in front of us. Will we be able to catch them? If we cooperate well in this group, I think that wouldn't be a problem. I didn't really see it happen, but I think we lost Maarten in the sprint here, unfortunately. I decided to make some pace as we were closing in on the guys in front of us, 4 riders on 12 seconds. And also Mr. Double D was still pacing like crazy in this group. And now we were really closing in on those guys in front of us, those 4 riders. Less than 10 seconds, the next sprint would be very important to close the gap. And in the meantime, I was also in contact over Discord with my teammate Yves. He was still in the front group. And also in company of our other teammates, Peter and Matthias. Big shout out to you guys. And now confirmed, Maarten no longer in our group, following on more than 20 seconds. But the good news is that we are closing in on 7 riders now in front of us, so the group is getting bigger and bigger. And then the first time I see my teammate Geert van Assen popping up on the screen. He's riding in a group in front of us. 20 seconds is the gap between us. And another big effort from Mr. Double D. Thanks to this effort we will be able to catch the group in front of us, so I will also be able to see Geert again. Or at least his avatar. And now the seconds are really flying off. 13 seconds is separating us. And as we're in the 5th round, I found my strength again, so I pulled off this big effort on the glide kicker. And then we can see Mr. Unwin. Not too bad, we have now sight on position 52 after that bad start. And then just before the champion sprint, an attack from Mr. Max. Will I be able to close the gap? Yes, I can, and I'm also able to pull off a decent sprint. And finally we can make eye contact with the group in front of us. Will we close the gap on the glide kicker? And so I decide to do a big effort on the glide kicker, and we have almost closed the gap on the group in front of us. No sign of Geert yet, but he's just 2 seconds ahead of us. Well, hello Geert, nice to see you again. Hopefully he can be able to follow our big group. Round 7, and once again the glide kicker. I think you already know the concept in the meanwhile. And round after round we were able to pick up some other riders, and now we have sight on Mr. Emery. 6 seconds, that would be possible to cross. And just before the champion sprint, another attack from Mr. Double D, and he's even able to make a little gap. I'm also able to pull off a decent sprint, and the gap on Mr. Emery is closed. During this sprint, Geert loses contact with the group. He must have given everything during the previous sprints. And then another rider we can add to our collection. Lap after lap, those sprints really start to take their toll. I can still sprint, but it's always below my usual level. I try to push between 600 and 700 watts each time. Not bad, but definitely not top end sprints either. No riders inside ahead of us anymore, so position 40 will be the highest we can aim for. Here I make a little mistake by waiting too long with my sprint. Luckily I'm able to close the gap again on the group. And round after round the same concept, again Mr. Double D launching a rocket. And finally we hit that last lap. I couldn't be happier. And in the meanwhile, Yves is informing me that he's still in the front group together with Peter Jan and Matthias. They're preparing themselves for the last sprint. Last time the Clyde kicker. See you again, my friend. In a month. Oh no, maybe make it better too. And in the meanwhile, I'm receiving the results from my teammates in the front group. Matthias could end in the top 10, position 7. Yves was 16th and Peter Jan, position 21. Very good result, guys. Well done. But no time to hesitate as Mr. Double D was pulling off an attack again. I tried to follow because we were almost at the last sprint and the last times he was able to pull off a gap. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, because by answering that attack I completely blew up my legs. I had no sprint left and ended up finishing 47th. In the end, not too bad when you consider I had already been dropped in sprint 1 and was riding around in almost last position. We still managed to move up about 20 spots. Moral of the story? Never give up, because hard work pays off. If you like my video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time, guys!